people is that's the aim. That's what we're trying to get to. But the initial changes, I mean, I've had successes and changes in behaviours after a single session.
Have you?
And I've seen teams change their ways instantaneously.
How did you do that then? How did you make change that quick?
Well, they did it themselves. This is the magic of it, isn't it? Our job is not that complicated. If you go through the process that we call the name it, claim it, aim it, that discovery actually can be quite insightful for people in themselves, because beginning to come face to face with their actual selves, something that they kind of lost sight of or maybe never fully appreciated they had, that can be great. I mean, I had a guy that I was coaching and his number one was developer, and he couldn't see it. And I was, okay, fine. In my head, I was thinking, it's your number one, so I can't believe it's not going to be easy for you to find. But what had happened is he'd become blind to it. And one of the ways I asked him, so let's talk about your life and talk about some successes or some examples of your day-to-day activities. To cut a long story short, one thing that he'd done is he'd moved out into a rural village and his son wanted to play football, and there was no football team.
Right.
So he had decided to set up a football team and get a few young lads together with some of the other parents around. This had quickly spiraled into a club that now has a membership of 200 kids.
Wow.
All done himself, and it was based because he wanted his son to have the opportunity, and then he spoke to other parents who said, oh yeah, we'd love that, and they've taken it on their shoulders to just do all this without even thinking about it. And I asked him to reread the signature theme definition and then the specific inside report around it, and he just looked at me and he said, well, and he did this, he put his hands to his head and he said, blimey, not only does that now make absolute sense, and of course it's my number one, but it also explains my anxiety, because everybody else's problem, my responsibility, I feel, is for everybody else to grow. And who's the one person that gets missed out in all of this?
Right.
Me.
Oh, that's a lovely story. Thank you for that.
It was great, and it was it got quite emotional for the individual, but it was instant. That day he was never going to think the same. He would always catch himself, and then to this, we made some continuously big strides. But to have that sort of impact in one session was great, and I have to take some credit for it, but ultimately he saw that for himself, and if he doesn't, then it doesn't work, does it?